Chelsea's big stadium plans, they just hit a massive roadblock. Earl's Court was set to be their new home, until it wasn't. So, what's next for Chelsea's vision of a new, world-class stadium?
Chelsea are pushing for a massive £1.5 billion bridge.
Chelsea's need for a new, bigger stadium isn't just a dream, it's practically a necessity. With Stamford Bridge aging and seating capacity limited, the club's been eager to expand. The Earl's Court site seemed like the perfect solution, until it wasn't. Stick around as we dig deep into Chelsea's ambitious stadium plans, the obstacles they're facing, and where the club could be heading now that Earl's Court is out of the picture. Stamford Bridge, Chelsea's home for over a century, is an iconic but relatively small stadium, especially compared to Europe's elite. With a capacity of just over 40,000, Stamford Bridge ranks near the bottom in size among major Premier League clubs. Arsenal, Tottenham, and even London's own West Ham have upgraded to far larger modern stadiums, giving them more revenue potential from tickets, hospitality, and events. Chelsea, however, is working with an older structure that wasn't built for today's fan expectations. Upgrading Stamford Bridge isn't as simple as it sounds. The stadium is surrounded by residential areas, narrow streets, and businesses. Expanding it to match the 60,000 seat capacities seen in places like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium would require significant renovations and possibly even demolishing nearby properties. It's a costly, challenging process, and it might still leave Chelsea with a limited venue compared to other top clubs. For Chelsea, this isn't just about having a modern stadium, it's about staying competitive. In today's football world, stadiums are revenue powerhouses. A bigger stadium means more ticket sales, corporate suites, high-end hospitality options, concerts, and events. Vital income that Chelsea needs to keep up with European giants like Real Madrid, PSG, and Bayern Munich. So, when the Earl's Court site became an option, it looked like a game changer. This prime spot in West London had plenty of space, great transport links, and a location not far from Stamford Bridge. But local councils and community groups had their own vision for the area, one that didn't include a massive football stadium. So, what exactly went wrong? Earl's Court was once home to a massive exhibition center, which was demolished in the early 2010s. Since then, it's remained a vast, unused space. With a location close to Chelsea's existing fan base, it seemed like a natural fit for a new stadium. The land offered enough space to build a stadium on par with Europe's biggest, with room for modern amenities and a design that could bring Chelsea into a new era. The plan would have also put Chelsea in an accessible location for fans across London and beyond, thanks to excellent transport links. The Earl's Court area is well connected by the underground, with multiple lines passing through, making it easy for fans to travel on match days. This accessibility could have eased crowd flow and improved the overall fan experience. But as promising as it sounded, the reality was more complicated. The area is under the jurisdiction of local councils, and over the years, there's been a lot of debate about how to use the land. Local community groups and councils have voiced concerns about a stadium at Earl's Court, mainly because of the impact it would have on the area. Some feared that a massive stadium would lead to overdevelopment, driving up property prices and potentially pushing out local residents. Others raised environmental concerns, worrying that a football stadium could increase pollution and strain local infrastructure. Community organizations also emphasized the need for green spaces, housing, and other community-focused developments instead of a large sports venue. Ultimately, the local councils and planners sided with the community. The Earl's Court land has been designated for residential and commercial development, making a stadium proposal a non-starter. For Chelsea, this decision has forced them back to square one. But what are their remaining options? Chelsea now faces a turning point. With Earl's Court off the table, they're left with two primary options, each with its own set of challenges: expanding Stamford Bridge or considering an entirely new location, possibly outside central London. First, let's talk about the Stamford Bridge expansion. This option would let Chelsea keep their historic location, maintaining a link with the club's past while updating it for modern standards. But it's not an easy task. Expanding Stamford Bridge would require complex engineering work, likely involving the demolition and rebuilding of sections of the stadium. there's also the challenge of fitting more seating and amenities into a relatively small footprint. And even if Chelsea can overcome these technical challenges, expanding Stamford Bridge might mean temporarily relocating, which is a huge consideration. Chelsea would likely need to find a temporary home for a season or more, which could affect ticket sales, disrupt fans, and impact the team's performance on the field. The alternative is to start fresh at a new location entirely, potentially moving outside of Chelsea's traditional neighborhood. This could open up new possibilities for a state-of-the-art stadium, with fewer constraints on design, capacity, and amenities. However, leaving the Stamford Bridge area would be a major departure from Chelsea's roots and could upset some of the club's loyal fan base who cherish the connection to the Fulham area. Plus, London's real estate market is notoriously tough. Finding a large, affordable site near public transport that's suitable for a stadium isn't easy. So, Chelsea is in a difficult position. Do they try to keep the historic Stamford Bridge alive with an ambitious, costly rebuild? Or do they take a bold step and move to a new location, even if it means leaving behind a century of history? Chelsea's journey to a new stadium has just gotten more complicated. With Earl's Court now off the table, they face a tough choice. Either they invest in a challenging expansion of Stamford Bridge, trying to keep up with Europe's best, or they explore entirely new locations, potentially beyond central London. This decision will define Chelsea's future for decades, affecting the club's finances, fan experience, and place in London's football culture. As Chelsea weighs these options, they'll need to consider not only the technical and financial aspects, but also the emotional connection that fans have to Stamford Bridge. Whatever path they choose, it's clear that Chelsea's future will look very different from its past. For more updates on Chelsea's stadium and the latest in stadium development, subscribe and stay tuned.